What's up, everyone? Welcome to Three Chicks in a Pod. I am Megan Price. I have Jenn Lewis in the middle and Kari Johnson at the very end. How are you ladies doing?
Good. How are you?
I am Megan Price. Sorry.
Love the feedback, Megan Price.
My bad.
She just wanted to shout out to herself and have someone else do it.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. By myself. Yeah, no, I'm sharing it to all the groups real quick. So how's y'all's weeks going, ladies?
Good. How about yours?
It's going really well. It's going to be an eventful week, but it's going to be a short work week for me. Super excited about traveling this weekend, and that's about it.
Oh, where are you going?
To the East Coast.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
Back to the beach.
I am not going back to the beach, but I'm still going to have tons of fun, so no worries.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mine's the same.
Same. You've been feeling well, Kari?
I am. Second day of PT, so it was really good. Sore, but good.
Awesome.
Woohoo.
Yes.
I'm so proud of you, Kari.
What have you had going on this week?
Me?
Mhm.
Not much. Had a really good time on Father's Day. My best friend and actually they're both my best friends. So my oldest friend and his wife, they're both my best friends. And their son finally moved back. Woohoo! Yay! And they were able to join us at my parents' house for Father's Day. And
Awesome.
we had just a really good time. It was great to see them. I thank them like 500 million times for moving back. And and just some of the same old.
Awesome.
What about you?
Like I said, just working, looking forward to my weekend. Okay, so let's jump in. And I just want to start off the show by saying that the ESPN's, it is their 30 for 30 documentary, but they're calling it the 50 for 50 because this is the 50th anniversary of Title IX. As you guys know, we've been talking about this all month long. And part one and part two of the documentary come out tonight. And if you are unable to watch it tonight, it will be on ESPN Plus. You'll be able to watch it at your leisure and watch it whenever if you want. It looks very interesting. Super excited to watch it, and just to hear some of the athletes like Billie King talk about what it meant to her and where she went in her career with that. Because of that, I think it just I'm looking really forward to seeing it from the athlete's point of view, like how much it affected their lives.
Yeah.
Right. I think that tonight's episodes are the 37 words.
Right.
The series starts with 37 words. Got that on my DVR set already, so it records the entire season. That way I can watch it whenever. I'm very intrigued, have been all along. But yes, cannot wait to watch and see how they get to portray it.
And I'm not sure how many episodes it's going to be. I know like the OJ one, I think was like 6 episodes. So I kind of probably expect it to be something similar to that.
I am intrigued by the fact that they're doing it near the end of the month as opposed to the beginning.
Well,
I don't know if that was
I think this is closer to the actual date.
Okay.
June 23rd was, I just looked at my notes. It was effective June 23rd of 1972. So I'm guessing their goal was to either have part of it or hit the halfway mark by the 23rd.
Right. And it passed on June 8th, 1972, and then it became the law June 23rd.
Right.
Okay. Makes sense.
I had wondered about that, but that was my working theory as I kind of filtered it through my brain.
Makes sense.
You want to start us off with
Sure.
what you started researching this week?
So this has been something that caught my attention the first time we talked about it at one of our earlier episodes, that Title IX was not actually initially for women in sports. It was for women in education. And a lot of people don't know that. The creation of Title IX actually had nothing to do with sports at all. And it came out of the need to update Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, I apologize, which banned several forms of discrimination. However, it did not address discrimination in education or in the workplace. So it's really made a, dent to me. So in the early 70s, like late 60s, early 70s, feminists started lobbying the Congress to add sex as a protected class category. And Title IX was enacted to fill the gap and prohibit discrimination in all federally funded education programs. At that point, Congressman John Tower proposed an amendment to Title IX that would have exempted athletic departments from Title IX. That amendment obviously was rejected, but it led to a widespread misunderstanding that Title IX was a sports equity law rather than an anti-discrimination civil rights law. And then in 2011, we all know, we've discussed this a couple of times, that President Obama actually issued guidance reminding schools of their obligation to address sexual assaults as civil rights matter under Title IX. He also issued the guidance clarifying Title IX protections for LGBT students through the Dear Colleague letters.
It also, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that also where they did race and updated like to for non like
so race is part of the civil rights. Race
is
part of the civil rights. It's not so much as part of Title IX. Title IX is more like gender.
But I thought that maybe it was refugees were added at that point as well because of the influx of refugees in the United States. So they were also kind of brought in. One of the articles I read a while back spoke to that was something there, and I can't find my notes.
What you're getting to is they also did a revised draft of the Equal Rights Amendment, and that brought in race and the Higher Education Act of 1965 as well. Is that
awesome?
And honestly, the article may have like combined it or worded it wrong because I've done that myself more than once. But yeah, like, but with Title IX, okay, here's what this says. Title IX became public law on June 23rd, 1972. When President Nixon signed the bill, he spoke mostly about desegregating busing and did not mention the expansion of educational access for women he had enacted. So for some reason, that's where some confusion would come in, I would think, because he's talking about desegregating buses, where Title IX is about saying, hey, women have to have equal rights in STEM and sport, or not necessarily in STEM and education and, being protected when they're at work.
Right.
Because we all know that it wasn't until the 80s that marital rape became illegal. So,
right.
I think the wording that I just found it. All students are protected by Title IX, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, nationality, immigration status, race, or ability. So it was kind of, the definition was
broadened
to ensure that, like, when the STEM focus has come in such recent years as a big focus, made sure that it was encompassing everyone and not just the women, or just making sure that it was broad, encompassing everyone.
So, and remember, Title IX is part of the Civil Rights Civil Rights Act as well. So, and it fed off of that. So they're interconnected loosely, but it's also making sure, to me, and this is a guess, obviously I'm not a lawyer, someone can obviously correct me. I feel like that's going also, like, making sure that women of different races are protected too. I may be wrong on that. That's an assumption on my part. I
think the wording was to make sure that the rainbow alphabet was also covered, because I know I don't say that's just easier for me to say because I mess up the order. But
it has changed in recent years, so it has understandable.
I read it and just incorporate it in my brain that way. And see, I also find it really interesting that it not only does it protect the students, but all of the administration and staff that are providing for the students are protected as well.
Right.
Right. Oh, okay. So it's more all
For
encompassing.
the people
Yeah.
that are, that are getting educated, it's those that are educating as well.
Yeah, because it's to protect your jobs and your employment, because women who had better knowledge and degrees, even at collegiate levels, female professors were being fired. I read that several female professors actually sued Harvard because they were being fired so that men could take their roles instead.
Oh wow.
So,
and is this recent that was?
This was in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, okay.
But it was after Title IX was enacted.
I see.
And a lot of people get really concerned because they fear that men's sports is affected. Well, initially it was, right? Because between 1981 and 1999, university athletic departments cut 17 different men's wrestling teams, 84 men's tennis teams, 56 gymnastic teams, 27 track teams, and 25 swim teams. But I mean, let's face facts. How many people really go to watch men's gymnastics? And I'm not knocking it. Girls just look prettier on the balance beam,
Well, no, I mean, it's about fairness, and so
it is about fairness.
Of course, when you split up a pie and you make different portions, like you got to take something from somewhere to add to this side over here. So that's just going to be part of what happens.
Exactly. And I lied. It was actually Yale that was sued, not Harvard. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
I apologize for that. And that was based like late 70s into the early 80s, and it was based off of a 1977 report. So by Anne Olivarius, Olivarius.
Mm-hmm.
So and she's she's still an attorney, and she's fighting for sexual harassment. So
wow.
Yeah, I love it. And, the ACLU obviously really promotes this, Title IX. And I just love the fact that it's not just about sports. So my background is like my entire mom's side of the family, all educators. So, and my grandmother on my father's side, my paternal grandmother actually worked for the federal government and the education department, and then when she retired, she went back as a consultant and made a lot of money. And Miss Kari was a teacher,
fourth generation teacher.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And that's why I really wanted to talk about that, because athletics is very important. No one's going to say it's not. It's what brought us together, right, ladies?
But right. I think the reason
is also really important.
I think that the sports was brought in through the extracurricular activities, because that would, if you think about it in schools, extracurricular a lot of it is sports related. I mean, it's changing. It has changed greatly in our local school district since I graduated. So, I mean, that's in the last 30 years, that's been a huge change. But yeah, I mean, the fact that it helped, the sports door was opened under this is amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely it was. And I love that it protects women from it's supposed to protect women from sexual assault. I love that women know that now, because back in the 90s they didn't really know that, right? And so now they're able to sue schools. Like, I'm a UNC fan, but UNC got sued in the early 90s for Title IX violations because they didn't protect two females who were sexually assaulted. So
I went back to one of the posts that I had made about Title IX for this month for us. And since the aftermath of Title IX in the last 50 years, 20% rise in women's further education. So 20% raise in those of us that have gone past high school to get a degree of some kind. 40% of law and 43% of medical degrees are now women, with nearly half of the doctoral degrees awarded across our nation are for women. To me, that speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
Where we were once relegated to once you graduate from high school, then you graduated into the kitchen and into the baby making stage of your life, kind of mentality to the future is yours, go capture it. It's pretty interesting.
Right.
My
And I
mom
think
was
that
the
kind of
very first accountant major, which is now Missouri State, but it was a teacher's college, but Missouri State University in Springfield. My mom was the very first female accounting major,
That's
and she
cool.
graduated in 1968 with that degree. Yes.
My grandmother, I don't know if I've told you this, Kari, but I think you like this, was actually the first graduating class of women from Boston College.
Very
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's very cool. And, I think that translates, over to sports and just to the fact of, just that we're able to create leagues, because what was so common for college athletes or high school athletes is, once you, as a female, once you were done, there were no pro leagues to go to, or they were so small that it wasn't profitable. It wasn't worth your time to go. And I think that, obviously we've seen the WNBA come out of that. Specifically, because it's not just, we're going to have the national team. You can go to the Olympics, but you can't do anything else. And that's starting, obviously that's changed with basketball, and we're starting to see that change with softball as well. We're starting to see professional football leagues, female football leagues. Like I've interviewed a young lady named Lacey O'Neill, she is a defensive back or defensive lineman in an all female league. And it's full contact, like it's regular football, but it's women playing. And she plays professionally. She plays 6 months out of the year, I believe. And they're about to have their championship this weekend in Frisco on Saturday. So later on, I'm going to tag her and let her know that we gave this shout out. And just love that option is there for ladies. That, if they're able to go on past school athletics and do it professionally because of Title IX.
Right.
All right, ladies. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart. Last week, we heard that Sue Bird said that she is going to be retiring after this season. And so I just wanted to kind of do a rundown of who she is and what she's done for the league and what she did in college as well. She's a 5'9" guard out of New York. She's about 150 pounds and she's 41 years old. She just had her birthday. She's married to Megan Rapinoe, who is a soccer player for the national team. And her wife was a part of that judgment that got them equal pay. And so, just a historic judgment. And then she went to college at UConn, just little old UConn. And she was the first overall pick in the 2002 draft. She was selected by Seattle Storm. She's played since 2002 to recent 2022. And she's played for the same team the entire time. She also played for the Russian League. She's also played for a Turkish league as well. She is actually was a part of the team that Brittany Griner plays for over there. Also, and just wanted to point out, I love that you pointed that out today, Kari, in my group, talking about that Brittany had told them this was going to be her last season there, and then magically this all happens. So,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Well, I read this was an article, and that was one of my argument points. It was right, if you'll remember, it was right before they invaded Ukraine.
Like
the original coach was murdered. Last year, in recent years,
it was a couple of seasons ago. Sue Bird talks about it in her interview with 60 Minutes.
And then she had announced this was her last season there. And magically, she all of a sudden has something show up in her luggage.
Right. Okay, but moving back to Sue Bird, she was named USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year. She's a 4-time WNBA champion, and a couple of those are recent. She had one in 2004, 2010, 2018, and 2020. So we're talking about somebody that was almost 40 years old and was still winning championships. The Seattle Storm is currently ranked number 2 in the West, so they're still very much a contender. She is a 12-time All-Star appearances, or she has 12 All-Star appearances. That's the most in WNBA history. She is a 5-time All-WNBA first team. She is a 3-time All WNBA second team. She's a 3-time WNBA assist leader, and she is the all-time assist leader as well. She is a 2-time peak performer. She's been a part of every single anniversary team. She's the Commissioner's Cup champion from last year. Last year was the inaugural one. She's a 5-time Russian League champion. She's a 5-time Euro League champion. She's a 2-time Euro Super Cup winner. She's a 2-time NCAA champion. She's a 3-time Nancy Lieberman Award. She won the Wade Trophy Award, the Honda Sports Award, the Naismith Smith Award, the USBWA Women's National Player of the Year in 2002. She was the AP College Player of the Year in that same year, and she was also the Big East Player of the Year. Moving on to her national team, she has 5 gold medals, as we know. And in this past summer, she said that would be her last international play. She also has 4 gold medals with the World Championship, and she has a bronze medal as well. She is somebody that has been active in speaking out for women to be able to get equal pay. Obviously, we talked about what her wife has done as well. And she's definitely not someone who's afraid to speak out for the women.
No,
and I
love that about her.
She also worked for the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if you guys know this as well. She was a part of their recruiting, and she was sent out to kind of judge guards. She's just kind of the epitome of guards, female guards. To me, I feel like her game is similar to Chris Paul's. I feel like she's the ultimate point guard. She's not always going to put up the most points, but she's going to have a ton of assists. Obviously, if you're the all-time assist leader, you're definitely diming it out. So
right.
Somebody that you haven't seen her involved in controversy. She speaks out on something that's wrong, but she hasn't had a controversy in her personal life, maybe other than coming out of the closet. And to me, that's not controversy. I think that's just her living her true life.
Right.
Just like you was.
Absolutely agree. She's a role model for young ladies and for women like us as well. You know, that no matter what your age is, you can still be very important to what cause you choose. So anything that you ladies wanted to say about Super?
Okay, so you list all this off, and I'm sitting here thinking this woman is 10 years younger than me. 10. She's born in 1980. I'm born in 1970. She was the first overall draft pick in 2002, the same year my son was born. So I'm like, I have a visual of what that timeline looks like because I have a child that's been that entire, to watch all that he's done since being born in 2002. So that gives me a way to frame all of what her career has been. And it's just impressive to me is there's no way 10 years ago I was going to be playing at a level that she's been playing at still, wasn't her last, wasn't she on last year or the year before last All-Star Week game? I mean, just recently, last year or so.
Just recent. And she's a recent champion. She won in 2020. They won the Commissioner's Cup last year. And like I said, 12 All-Star appearances. And these are recent ones. So she's been a vital part of her team until the very end of her career.
So here's my question.
10 years ago, I was face planting in comparison to her. So.
So here's my question. Do we think the Charlotte Hornets could hire her? We kind of need a coach.
Right. You guys are in desperation mode right now. Hopefully y'all don't make a drastic decision before the draft. As we know, the NBA draft is going to be Thursday night.
Yes.
Man, I don't know what y'all have going on.
Did you see that the Phoenix Suns hired the first African-American female? What is it, an assistant head coach? No, what was the title?
I'm going to have to look it up, but I want to say it's like co-GM or something like that.
I can't remember, but I was like, I saw it briefly and I shared it to our page on Facebook. Unapologetic plug, 3 Chicks in a Pod has a Facebook page. But that was really really, really neat to see that happen today.
Absolutely agree. And then the name of she has a podcast with her best friend and former teammate, Diana Taurasi. And just want to say this about Sue Bird as well. I personally, DT's the GOAT, but there's only one other person really in that conversation with her, and that's her best friend. So, I think that DT's like right here, here's Sue, and then here's everybody else, like as far as accomplishments and what they've done within the league. But the name of their podcast is About Last Night. So you make sure you guys check that out. It's on YouTube. They've also done some coverage of the women's NCAA tournament, which was hilarious.
Mhm.
And it was so funny. It was probably the best part of the tournament for me personally. But let's go ahead and unless y'all have anything else, let's kind of shift gears and go to our guest.
I wanted to say thank you, Walter. Okay. And hi, Jordan. Welcome aboard.
Hi. So, I was hearing your conversation about the assistant or the Suns. It was an assistant general manager. I just looked it up. Because
Yeah, thank you. I knew it was I felt like it was a front office, but I was having brain fog at the moment.
Yeah, I was like, I saw this. Yeah, you're welcome. I was looking at the story the other day, and then when you mentioned it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that happened. But I'm obviously here to promote my shows, but you guys have done an amazing job. I love listening to it. I hope a lot of people do, just because you guys have bring women's sports to the forefront. Not many people do that. In fact, there is a story that I didn't read it, but I know the headline was, "What will it take to bring women's sports to Colorado in terms of pro?" We don't have any. And Megan knows this. I've been way an advocate of bringing the WNBA here. But
Absolutely.
So my shows that I have, of course, you guys know that I have a blog that I write Mondays through Fridays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com. I'm also have a live stream on the network that is pretty much, it's Colorado-based, but it has national sports headlines, so I'll talk about the Colorado Avalanche, although that was kind of a bummer last night, the Colorado Rockies, the Denver Nuggets, as well as the Denver Broncos, as well as bringing national sports headlines as well. Of course, I'm on the NBA Carousel, hosted by Megan, which she does an amazing job. I do the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns, and you're welcome. I'm also on the NFL Carousel with Kari, Jen, and Megan, as well as we have the Confidential, which is on, what is it, Tuesday? I'm forgetting what day it is.
It's tonight.
It's tonight. We have my research done at least. Tuesdays at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Mountain Time. The last two shows I've hosted, but JB is back, so we called. Yeah, exactly. We call it the best Cubs show after dark, and of course Jay Nelson is our producer. So, yeah.
And Jordan, you've done a great job hosting the last 2 or 3 weeks. So
I appreciate that.
Cool. Very cool. And to respond to this comment, Walter, actually her name is Morgan Cato, and I think actually it's just a matter of time before Sarver is pushed out, and that's probably why maybe one of the reasons they hired her to kind of start smoothing over this situation there. And it's probably just a matter of time before he's pushed out. So just my personal opinion on that. But congratulations to her on getting that position.
Yes.
Jordan, we are both representing I'm representing the correct team, but I see you're representing the team as well. And as you were saying that you do the Cubs, I'm like, dude, do we even match on any, or are we always going to be adversaries?
I said that to Jahan in a chat earlier. I was like, wait, we agree on a player? Is that allowed?
Yeah, we're probably not going to agree on anything. Honestly, though, there is one player on the St. Louis Cardinals that I absolutely love. I'm also a Rockies fan, so I love Nolan Arenado. I'm glad he's getting a chance to actually win. I just didn't like the trade from it, but that's only because I don't like the owners, but I'm glad he's getting a chance to actually win.
Yes, it is, Jahan. We both agreed.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap us up for this week. But a quick plug on Sideline Sports, guys. Make sure you check out Sideline Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. On Twitter is Sideline Sports 1. And we have just a variety of shows. Any sports, we have shows every single day of the week. You can find us on YouTube as well. And I think that's it. Anybody else have anything?
We just want to make sure that you know that we have we are on Twitter, 3 Chicks in a Pod. So if you find a story that we need to be brought to our attention, I know our friend Jacob tags us a lot. Tagged us in a story I haven't been able to go pick up yet today, but I saw that notification come across. Tag us in there. Tag 3 Chicks in a Pod. Tag any of us ladies that we can pick them up, because honestly, that's awesome. We want to hear this. Want to see those stories that
to our Facebook page too. Let us know if we're missing something you guys want more info on, or you think would be good insight for everybody else. Like Kari said, let us know. I'm putting Kari in charge of media relations right now.
It's been voted on. Well, thank you guys so much for watching and commenting or sharing. We appreciate you guys coming and watching every single week, and we will be back next week.
Will do.